Leslie Crouch, and welcome to the Maine Topic. Today we'll be talking about a vision impairment that people across the country are struggling with and may be affecting you and your children. Convergence Insufficiency is a vision disorder that affects your ability to see, read, learn, and work at close distances. A person may pass a 20/20 eye chart test and still have convergence insufficiency. Local Kennebunk High Schooler Michael Meads brought this issue to our attention. Michael, why do you think this is such an important issue?
Well, growing up with two siblings myself who suffered from convergence insufficiency, I know firsthand the negative impact it had on their lives, but I also know that the proper diagnosis and treatment through vision therapy can be life-changing. 1 in 4 American kids sitting in classrooms today is suffering from convergence insufficiency, but they're often misdiagnosed as ADD, ADHD, or the kid will just think they're dumb or lazy. So my goal overall is to simply raise awareness so that these kids don't have to suffer the way my brother and sister did.
And what are you doing to raise awareness?
Well, I created a Facebook page that you can visit. It's called Convergence Insufficiency Awareness. It has tons of links, information on the impairment. It's great. You should check it out.
And to get a closer look at convergence insufficiency, we sat down with the experts.
Convergence insufficiency, or CI, is a binocular vision disorder where the eyes are not working as a team well. So let's say you're looking at a book that you're reading. Your eyes actually aren't aiming at the page well, they're aiming beyond it. So they don't have the stamina to team well and stay converged on the paper together.
I started to see that there was frustration at school. There was behavioral patterns of avoidance, things that didn't make sense, didn't really add up. Both of the children really loved to learn, really loved books, loved to be read to out loud. And some of the things that were happening where they just weren't getting their work finished or completed. My son was more sensitive to noise in school, noise on the bus, seemed easily distracted, had a hard time focusing and paying attention, and started to express that he was sad that people didn't believe him because he was really smart but not able to get the work done in the classroom.
The brighter you are, the more frustrated you get. So if you're a really bright kid, you've got great verbal skills, but you're just not performing in school, you hate homework, it takes you 2 hours, or you're kind of a chair thrower. That's what I call it. You're so frustrated, temper tantrums. A lot of times people will think it's ADHD and they'll even go to the doctor and get meds for ADHD, and the meds don't work at all, it makes them crazy. And then you know it's something else that's giving ADHD-like behaviors, that inattentiveness, unwillingness to do the work avoidance, homework problems.
I think I felt a bit angry that there wasn't this awareness out there when there are so many kids, 5 million kids in America alone, that are waiting for support and relief in the classroom when it's treatable.
Why does CI go undiagnosed? I'm not quite sure, but there's the expression, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But if you don't have a hammer, maybe nothing looks like a nail. If you don't know what convergence insufficiency is, pretty good chance you're not going to look for it or find it.
Not only have my children had, their regular vision screenings at every pediatric appointment, I did as well growing up, and I also had multiple optometry appointments where I'd had my eyes checked and it was not detected. I didn't understand that there was a difference between eyesight and vision, and that vision is learned, and that vision has depth perception and peripheral vision. And I thought of depth perception as how deep is that, not how far away is that and what's my rate of speed of approach. So in 2 very minor car accidents, but still was about $10,000 worth of damage. Both circumstances had aspects of depth perception as a problem. And I didn't slow down in time enough to make a turn in some road conditions that I really felt I was going slow enough, and I was on a very steep pass in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And so it was a slow motion car accident, but quite scary. And then another one where I drove into an unmarked, fully excavated manhole. And it was flat light, and it was a dirt road, and it wasn't marked with cones or gates, and I was just bleary-eyed, tired with a teething infant, which exacerbates your eye condition, and you don't know that. So I drove right into the front of it and broke the whole front end of a brand new truck that I hadn't even got new plates on yet. A skiing accident, a snowboard accident, 2 ACL surgeries on the same knee, all because of asymmetry and things that were not diagnosed when I was younger to make a difference.
I had one girl whose mother asked me to be her therapist because she was bright and capable and really put a lovely, glowing, graceful self out into the world, and came home and had ridiculous meltdowns. And she was a little old for the temper tantrum, and it wasn't long at all before I noticed she had CI. Sent her to someone, and she did the work with the optometrist, the vision therapy, and she was really fine. The temper tantrums were over, and the whole thing, start to finish, I think was 5 months, and I only saw her for a couple months of that. The statistics about how many kids struggle with CI really vary greatly. There's one report that says 2.5% of the population, and another that says it's more like 20% of the population. And so with such a wide range, I was thinking about it for something like Biddeford Primary School with 550 kids. You know, it really can be anywhere from 15 to 70 kids, and that Biddeford Primary School might be struggling with convergence insufficiency. However, I would say, as a therapist, my numbers are far higher. You know, the number of people that come to me that something's not right, they've tried everything already, the number of kids I see in my practice is probably more like 60%.
Convergence insufficiency is treated only through vision therapy. There was a study performed called the CITT study, which is an evidence-based article showing that vision therapy in the office, just like mine here, is the best way and the only effective way to treat convergence insufficiency, so the eyes team better. Try keeping your eyes relaxed, breathing nice and deep and slow. Is it still one circle, Ariana?
Yes.
There's a variety of exercises. We might start off with big gross motor exercises to get your spatial awareness and understanding better learned in the eyes and the brain. The brain's really the organ of the body that's doing the visual interpretation. We might use a swinging ball and a bunting bat to tap. We do exercises with a string with beads on it, so we practice looking down the string and converging from point to point. So I want you to look down at the yellow bead. Tell me when you've got it. Nice job. Now, is the yellow bead one bead? Mm-hmm. Good. Now slide your eyes down to the orange bead. Let me know when they've landed on the orange bead.
I have landed.
Good job. Awesome. Typically, you'd start seeing improvements in 8 weeks or so, but we do recommend 10 to 20 weeks at least of vision therapy so that it really sticks and they can retain their skill. But within about 8 weeks, we see some improvements.
In my life, convergence insufficiency has affected me to always have my dreams just slightly past my reach, just past my grasp. I've been successful, I've done some really cool things, but when I started out in school, I wanted to be a doctor. I accommodated, I became a hairdresser. So I get to work by appointment and I love it, and I get to work with people and I'm very passionate about wellness, but I lost self-esteem and I lost self-confidence, and I started to believe the evaluations that people told me, that I was smart but I didn't follow through, or I couldn't focus, or I was really smart but lazy. I just didn't know that I was actually working harder trying to complete the work, and that brain fatigue was at play. So I no longer trusted my intelligence. So by freshman year of college, at the end of the year, I dropped out. I was so frustrated, and I really didn't understand why I procrastinated. I really didn't understand why I avoided. And I still didn't understand why every time when I sat in that desk, I would fall asleep. I figured there was like magnets in the chair or something that just, right, shut the eyes and out you go. I didn't get it. So it really changed the course of my career path in my life and put me at risk for the personal injuries that I've sustained and a couple of car accidents that I've had.
Watching kids get misdiagnosed and given stimulants for a condition they don't have is somewhere between sad and tragic. It's really hard to see. As a social worker, I'm not just interested in individual stories, but on whole systems and how they play, and injustice, how that plays out. And what I would like to see is access to convergence insufficiency treatments such as vision therapy with trained vision therapists and optometrists as a matter of course. I think the social capital that we lose out on is profound. When someone thinks that they're stupid and they're not stupid, they just are having a hard time organizing the writing, but everyone else can do it, and they retreat from school. The numbers in juvenile detention centers of people with convergence insufficiency, I've heard, is up around 75%. Like, why are they so frustrated? Why did the other kids in their family do okay and this one kind of falls through the cracks? I think when you're getting disorienting information through your vision center all day long, you can't even begin to measure the loss there of self-esteem and connection. 75 to 90% of our learning comes through our vision, and it's like walking around with your ears plugged or blinders on. It's a profound loss for that individual, but it's a profound loss for our society and the gifts that person would have brought had they been able to get access to the vision they needed. And I think it's a huge loss to our financial dollars spent on education. I always think about how many reading specialists we have helping people use a ruler to track down to the next line, when you shouldn't need a ruler to track. If your eyes aren't able to wrap back around, you're having some vision issues that are correctable.
Many teachers, parents, pediatricians, educators just overlook it and think that it comes down to a cognitive skill or an engagement with reading, but in fact it's the physical eyes and the system, the visual system, that really needs strengthening. So it's no fault of the child, it's just that third missing component of the eyes themselves and the brain that need that training. So I think that the more awareness we can raise, the more we can send kids to a developmental optometrist and get this problem solved so that they can start to function better and be more successful students. You gain skill and you gain confidence. So those are huge foundational skills.
I think that it's so important to raise awareness about convergence insufficiency and other learning-related vision problems, because there's a host of them that I've learned about, because we're burdening society in America in a way that they can't access the potential success they deserve. Our teachers are burdened in the classroom. It's costing our school systems billions of dollars, literally, as well as society, because left untreated, once literacy goes past the classroom, that puts people at a greater risk to burden society for their lack of productivity in the workplace, or their ability to work, or their ability to function as healthy as they can. And this applies to all kinds of people, not just whether I have it genetically, but this is also something that can come from acquired brain injuries, from concussions, during stages of life or puberty, because it's muscle development, driven by hormones and surges of that hormone to make your muscles develop too fast, and that's what controls the eyes to function properly. And so People have it, they don't know it, and it's like this sleeping giant in society because it affects everything from your car insurance, your health insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your personal risk and safety, your academic performance, your performance to have an office job or work vocationally, or to walk your whole life with an imbalanced asymmetry that sets you up for a knee replacement, a hip replacement, or the fact that we're just not as safe driving on the road the way that we should be. We only check for 20/20 eyesight, not vision.
I think one thing that's important to mention is vision therapy for autism. My understanding is that about half of the autism identifiers are vision related, that shining, spinning, that looking downward, that going inside. And sometimes when you correct vision, you can correct enough of those that you no longer really actually qualify as having autism spectrum disorder.
To learn more about Convergence Insufficiency, please visit the Facebook page Convergence Insufficiency Awareness. If you're a Mainer and would like to tell us your story, please email us at themaintopic1@gmail.com. At Biddeford Public Access, I'm Ansley Crouch. Thanks for watching.